You had sent me a video, and I love the idea. I said, Steve, on the show, we should talk about what realtors and wholesalers get wrong. So obviously, you've done well, particularly in Kansas City. So let's talk about this concept. What is it that realtors and investors generally get wrong?
So here's a great example. We already talked about that apartment complex.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's just say I bought it for 10,000 and immediately wanted to sell it. And let's just argue, for instance, I could have sold it for 300,000 at appraised value at the time.
But you
Okay.
might want to wholesale it for like 140 or something like that, right?
So sure. So let's say I buy it for 10, sell for 30, and it would have been a $290,000 gain.
Mhm.
I would have paid tax on that. You're giving up $90,000 right off the bat to
Uncle
the
Sam.
government. And now you've got 200 grand and then you've got to go invest that and try and repeat the cycle.
Mhm.
The difference is I was able to get the $250,000 in a line of credit. And because you're borrowing that money, you can then turn around and invest it. You pay nothing in tax. In fact, it's a tax benefit because you can depreciate, although on $10,000, you're not depreciating much.
Mhm.
But the idea is with any investment, you can depreciate and get a paper loss
Mhm.
and at the same time turn around leverage and go buy other assets. The accumulation of assets is the key to wealth long term. And in a nutshell, I believe that both real estate agents and real estate investors transact more than just buy and hold.
Right.
And the greatest mistake that I believe they're making is that they should be holding more assets. The wealth that I have created in my lifetime is not from transacting, it's just from buying and holding, and then just down the road, these assets double in value.
So if we were to divvy up Mark's wealth, 100% of it. How much of that wealth came from active income? How much of that wealth came from buying properties?
Okay, you've got to be careful there because obviously your active income, if you're smart, you'll pour into, buying more assets.
Correct.
But as it sits right now, I would say that, 80% of my wealth is just from assets that I have bought and held and appreciated in value.
Right.
I would say probably 50% of my wealth is just pure appreciation
Mhm.
because I've, bought assets for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, real estate in any market you're in, I would challenge someone to go back and pull MLS comps. Sometimes I'll be, comping a property for one of my acquisitions agents is tough comp. And I'll go back and look at data and I'll look and see the same house I could have bought that I'm thinking of buying now for 200,000 because it's worth 310. The same house I could have bought, 10 years ago for 100,000.
Yeah.
It's just real estate doubles in value every 20 years.
So we were driving in Mesa the other day, my wife and I, with the kids. I can't remember exactly where we were going, but we're in Mesa. And as I'm driving, on the left-hand side are all these fourplexes that I've shown. As a realtor, I've shown these fourplexes. And they're worth more than, I think, $500,000 today. And I just drive by it, and I just shake my head. It's like, I was showing these when they were like 160,
Yeah.
right? Like, we just bought it for 160 and just held on to it. Would have done pretty well for ourselves. And 160 was not a lot of money. 160 for a fourplex, you can't even buy a house today.
Yeah.
Right? For 160. So let's just say hypothetically, we got a good friend, Jason Medley, sitting next to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jason has said that a lot of times we try to buy assets for passive income at the risk or at the cost of our active income. You know what I'm talking about? Like the best way to have passive income is to make a lot of active income. It's
Yep.
more or less his expression. You're familiar with?
Sure.
Okay. In this instance, we're talking about you should be buying more assets to buy and hold.
Mhm.
So can you help me reconcile that argument?
Yeah, I mean, clearly, there's validities to both points. I think he's also buying assets,
Mhm.
right? He chooses to lend money,
Mhm.
and he's creating paper assets. I don't think many people have the ability to do what he does.
Not what he does. No.
So, it's a unique proposition, but he's still creating an asset that spits off passive income.
Right.
100% agree that you have to have an active income to be able to go buy assets. I think those that, but I think that the message I'm trying to get out there is that I'm talking to people that make a lot of money,
Mhm.
but they'll go buy a flashy car or a bigger house or take massive
Gotcha.
vacations rather than, I'm not trying to tell someone that's making, $50,000 a year, to start buying houses. I mean, that would be over leveraging. I just believe that there are very successful people in this world that are oblivious to the great asset that's out there for them to pour money into. And it's so easy for us to put hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars into the stock market where it's truly just volatile and you don't get the benefits of these four pillars of real estate, which is appreciation, the tax benefits through depreciation, the cash flow, and the scale with which you can, because of the leverage.
Yeah.
So,
Um, I love that we're talking about this topic because I'm in a different mastermind. It's a realtor mastermind in the Phoenix market.
mhm.
And there's this realtor, Paul Pastor, who I look up to. And I want to say about once every 4 to 6 months, he'll just put his fist on the table and it's like, you guys need to buy more real estate, right? It's like the greatest mistake that realtors make all the time is that they don't have rental incomes. Like
Yes.
you guys, and he looks around, right? He's been doing this for 40 plus years. He looks around. It's like all you guys that I've known for all these years can't stop working. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, because I've been picking up real estate all along the way. But for the life of me, I can't figure out why realtors who buy and sell real estate, who suggest on a regular basis it's a good time or you should buy real estate, who to this present day say you should be buying real estate,
Yeah.
are not buying real estate.
Well, and I think part of it, Steve, is that there's an active portion. They feel like they're going to get bogged down with the management.
Mhm.
And, without dialed in property management, the two big killers of cash flow obviously are vacancy and maintenance. If every property was occupied forever and never had any maintenance, everyone would do it. But
Yeah.
there's a negative connotation to thinking that they're going to have to answer phones. But you find the right property manager and that takes care of itself. I think that realtors are underestimating the greatest tax benefit the government gives us. If you're a fully licensed real estate professional, you're allowed to take 100% of your paper losses in year. So you would be minimizing the taxes that you're paying to the government through the actual depreciation you're taking on your assets. And the other thing is, people look at an asset and say, oh, it's only cash flowing, a couple of grand a year. And if someone moves out, then that's my whole cash flow gone. They're missing the whole point.
Mhm.
This is not about monthly cash flow now. It's about having cash flow in the future. The biggest misconception, I think, with regard to real estate is that the monthly cash flow from a piece of real estate is going to be life-changing now. No, it is not. You're not going to be able to go and buy real estate and have it change your life. However, you can also not go in retirement and buy a massive portfolio. You have to have had time work for you
Mhm.
because you'll leverage the asset and someone else will pay that mortgage off for you. And then in 15 or 20 years' time, when that asset is paid off, then you have that life-changing financial freedom
Right.
from having a fully paid off asset that will be cash flowing. So that's, I think, the thing people don't realize is you're not buying it for cash flow today. You're buying it knowing that you will be getting it in the future. It's delayed gratification is the
Yeah.
sign of maturity. I mean, it's the classic mature play.
So we had someone on the show,